were down in Mexico, and we're sitting by the side of the pool, and I just remember saying out loud, God, this is so great. Life just does not get any better than this. And my son was in the morgue. I married Brian when Trevor was about 9, so we were single for, a few years.
The dreaded Anderson house. The dog in the driveway. Children are everywhere.
We always had a great relationship. It was always very respectful, and I always wanted to be like his, I guess, mentor, bigger brother, whatever. I wasn't his father, even though his dad wasn't in the picture. So I try to balance those things. But I always considered him my son.
He wasn't a fantastic student. He wasn't remarkable that way. He was remarkable in the fact that he brought people together.
I always enjoyed hanging out with him, whether it was camping or just going for a drive or just, spending time talking about life at 19.
He just loved being outside, anything to do with fishing, camping. He loved kickboxing. He was into that for a long time.
I remember Trevor's lightning fast hands. He was an incredible kickboxer.
Robin and I at night, we could hear Trevor come in because he'd be speeding around the block wherever he was, just.
I can tell you there wasn't anyone I'd get in the car with that I felt safer with than him as far as driving ability, or that I thought he was going to be making the right decision or not pushing it too far. We get this false sense of confidence in our cars when we put roll cages and better suspension, and you like driving fast. You like pushing the limits. You like seeing how far you can go.
Cars were always a big deal from him, whether he was playing a video game on cars. He was quite a good mechanic himself. Then he's thinking about going and studying to be a mechanic. And so he was very much into automobiles.
He bought a really fast car, and he and his friends used to race and drive fast. They just drove too fast.
We'd been down in Mexico. I do remember we were leaving Saturday afternoon. Trevor was home.
We're driving away, and we're like, hey, just don't burn the house down.
And he gave me that kind of sly Trevor smile and said, don't worry.
Both Robin and Brian were out of town as well as my folks. So it was kind of a free reign weekend for 19-year-olds. It was, where are we going to hang out tonight? Whose house? I remember us mutually giving each other a hard time about flaking on the other one, don't flake, I'm going to be waiting for you, and him saying, oh, you answer the phone, and about after the first hour went by and I hadn't heard from him, I knew something wasn't okay.
When we got back, I guess somebody left a message, somebody was looking for us.
I guess the cops came over to the house and there was nobody here, so they woke up my neighbors. And so when we pulled up, they told us what happened.
You don't get it. Just bounces off your brain. It's so horrible that you don't even understand what he's saying.
And it just was so surreal. It was just like it wasn't even happening to me or us.
I had to see it. Just personally, I wanted to understand what happened, go out to the crash site and just take it all in and try to understand all of it.
The cops estimated he was going about 100 miles an hour. I think he clipped the sidewalk or the curb, went upside down, and he would have been fine, I think, except that he hit a cement culvert upside down, head on.
When I looked at the car, there was an indentation in the roof as to where he hit his head. He was killed instantly.
They left him upside down, hanging in his car while they completed the investigation. And that was really hard for me to... I visualized that for years afterwards.
A lot of the stuff in this car went everywhere. And I spent a lot of time walking in the field and just trying to find things, papers and CDs and just to get a piece.
It was black for a long time, and I just sort of felt like my whole life, like Trevor was a thread. And pulling that out just made everything in my life unravel. I remember crawling into his bed and just laying there.
And we would just sob together until, she fell asleep.
we put up a memorial bench down at Moonlight Beach, overlooking one of his favorite beaches, a place where people could go and, be with him.
Getting Trevor's initials down on my stomach was a way that I could assure myself that I would never forget. It reminds me every day, when I get out of the shower, to make sure, you kiss your kids goodbye, make sure you tell the people around you how you feel. You don't know what's around the corner. You only take your skills into consideration, and you don't think about all the little things that come into play.
I'll never be the same after he died. A part of me was just ripped out, and you have to learn to live with that, because that's the only choice you really have.
Okay, I'll quit bugging you. I just wanted to get you on tape. This is like July 1995. He's almost 16 years old.